Michael Myers, dude.
Yeah, immature, not very wise. You haven't grown old gracefully.
Yeah, grown old gracefully. But then, like, what if you don't grow old gracefully? You grow old nasty and just bitter and mean. Come on, dude. Like, the majority of people, they don't grow old gracefully. Like, what the fuck is that?
Warning, this podcast is for entertainment only and not intended for medical purposes.
Well, okay, but yes, there is the tendency to grow old nasty, or like the grumpy old man, which is actually a really common path. But what we're talking about is a third alternative, which is to grow old and be nasty in a fun way, because you're still dating the ladies, and then you want to surf and you want to do the rings. That's a different kind of growing old, and that's the new paradigm. And yeah, so there's cultural judgment about all of them.
But wait a second. Like, throughout history, isn't that what everyone has always done? How do you think new stuff happens? Like,
that if you want to like be a pioneer and like go like create new, better possibilities, you have to buck trends. Yeah, I have a friend he's like 24, a therapist friend of mine, and he's out in California, and he met this like older, super rich, successful older lady, and he's kind of becoming her little kept man. And I'm like, dude, go for it. Like, start a new career path and have your career be just like this lady's sugar baby.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's that's like a kind of an open perspective. Talk about like inclusivity, right? And breaking the norms to include. Whenever I see all these signs about like, oh, it's pride, like I just drove by one last night and it was like all on the front of Target, the store Target, the glass windows. There's a huge one right by where I live. And it's got this giant mural about like inclusivity and acceptance, blah, blah. And it's not talking about any of what we're talking about right now. It is not talking about this like complexity of dealing with our ageist society and the discrimination of who has the resources, what resources do you have, and what deals can you make in a partnership, and whose fucking business is it anyway? It's no business of ours. It's no business of ours what people do sexually. Like, shut the fuck up, right? It's no business of ours what type of business arrangements people make. You're like, oh, you signed that contract? Unacceptable, right?
Yeah.
We don't fucking have any issues with that. But then why would why would we have all these issues with you know what I'm saying. I don't even have to finish that sentence.
No, well, the rainbow, the inclusivity rainbow that is the symbol of like the LGBT movement, in theory, is this lack of judgment. Do whatever you want. It's all good as long as it's consenting adults. Go nuts. Which in theory is inclusivity. But then somehow within that community, they get super judgmental about an old dude having a sugar baby arrangement with a young lady. So that in that crowd, that's absolutely fucking unacceptable.
Yep. Well, all of us need help figuring out who we're going to accept and how. I think, like globally, internally, I have my own reaction to certain people, right? Like the body positivity movement and stuff. There's certain issues that, because of my cultural upbringing, my grandma was like a fattist. She literally was, for whatever her reason, very against people who were overweight and was vocal about it. And so hearing that shit when you're very tiny, it just kind of goes in your head. And
totally.
Like each of us have these kinds of conditioned trends, and then it becomes difficult to figure out how do you accept these people, everyone else who's going on their own journey, trying to make their way in the world. And now that we have so much contact with so many types of people through these various lenses, it's like we all have lots of work to do, and like someone is gonna have to figure out how to accept my new fucking look, dude, which is killer. I'm super stoked.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, well, okay. What about we got to switch gears? One last topic. You ready?